you are.
Will, look out!
Imagine a world where money doesn't exist. Instead, time is the only currency. Every person stops aging at the age of 25, but there's one terrifying catch. The countdown on your arm tells you exactly how long you have left to live. Run out of time, and you die instantly. The rich have centuries to spare, while the poor struggle to survive one day at a time. But when one ordinary man suddenly receives more than 100 years, he decides to challenge a system built to keep the poor dying and the rich living forever. This is In Time. The story begins with a man named Will Salas. Today is his mother's 50th birthday, but despite being that old, she still looks 25. That's because in this world, people stop aging after the age of 25. Will's mother says that she only has 3 days left on her clock. Half of that will go toward rent, 8 hours will go toward the electricity bill, and once again, they're behind on paying off their loan. After that, Will's mother says that she'll be away from home tonight because she has to work at the garment factory. She tells Will to be at the bus stop on time tomorrow evening. Before leaving, she gives Will 30 minutes so he can eat something nice for her birthday. She takes Will's hand and transfers 30 minutes to him. In this world, people transfer their time by holding each other's hands. After that, Will heads to work. He lives in Dayton, a poor time zone that wealthy people call the ghetto. On the way, he comes across a little girl who asks him for a little time. Will decides to help her. He transfers 5 minutes to the device she uses to store time. In this world, people can also store time in these devices and use it whenever they need it. After that, Will arrives at his workplace, where the price of tea and coffee has been increased starting that very day. Seeing this, Will's friend Borel criticizes the price hike. Will then buys a cup of coffee and heads to work. After the workday ends, everyone is paid 1 day of time as their wages. For the people working there, receiving only 1 day of time in exchange for an entire day's labor is extremely little. That night, Will goes to a club where his friend Borel has been drinking for quite a while. Will tells him it's time to head home. Borel points to a man sitting across the room and tells Will that the man has been buying drinks for everyone. He has a century of time. Just then, Will notices the man's clock and clearly sees that he has 116 years on it. Seeing this, Will walks over to him and says, "You need to get out of here. Somebody's going to clean that clock." But the man doesn't take Will's warning seriously. Will says again, "They are going to rob you and kill you." Just then, the Minutemen gang arrives at the club. As soon as people see them, they start running. Seeing this, Borel tries to get Will out of there. The leader of the Minutemen gang, Fortis, walks up to the man, introduces himself, and says that his clock is very impressive and he'd like to see how it looks on his own arm. After that, Fortis challenges the man to a time fight. The man says, "I need a moment," and goes to the bathroom to throw up, where one of Fortis's men keeps an eye on him. Just then, Will arrives, slams Fortis's man into the door, and rescues the man. After that, he helps him escape. Fortis and his men immediately start chasing Will. While running, Will takes the man to an abandoned building to save him from the Minutemen gang. Eventually, Will manages to get out of Fortis's sight, leaving Fortis furious. After reaching the building, Will says to the man, "What are you trying to do? Are you out of your mind? What are you trying to prove by flashing your clock?" Hearing Will's words, the man smiles and introduces himself as Henry. Will says they'll have to spend the night there because the Minutemen gang is searching for them outside. Henry asks Will how old he really is, and Will tells him he's 28 years old. Hearing that, Henry says that he's 105 years old. Will sarcastically replies that if he keeps acting like this, he might not even live to see 106. Smiling, Henry says that an endless life has no meaning. We need to die, because everything is only enjoyable up to a certain point, but after that, life itself slowly becomes a burden. Hearing this, Will gets annoyed. He asks Henry if living longer is really a problem for him. Henry replies that yes, some people have to die. Will doesn't understand what he means. Seeing that, Henry asks if he really doesn't know the truth. Will still can't understand what he's talking about. Henry then asks him, "Have you ever wondered how taxes and prices suddenly go up on the very same day?" After that, Henry explains that not everyone in this world can be immortal. After all, where would they keep so many people? Where would the resources come from? That's why prices are raised from time to time, so people keep dying. And only then can the rich enjoy their millions of years. Henry's words leave Will stunned. After that, Henry asks him what he would do if he had as much time as Henry does. Will replies that he doesn't know about the rest, but he would never waste his time. Henry likes Will's answer. After that, the two talk for a while, and the night passes. When Henry wakes up the next morning, he sees Will still asleep. Quietly, Henry transfers all of his time to Will, keeping only 5 minutes for himself. When Will wakes up, he looks at his clock and sees that it now holds all the time Henry has given him. Just then, Will notices Henry's message written on the window glass. It says, "Don't waste my time." Will then looks out the window and sees Henry sitting on the railing of a bridge. Henry now has only the last few seconds of his life left, and they keep counting down. He is completely ready to die. The moment Henry's clock reaches 0, he feels a sharp pain and dies. His body then falls off the bridge. Meanwhile, Will is running toward him to save him, but he's already too late. When Will reaches beneath the bridge, he sees Henry's dead body. The sight leaves him heartbroken. A security camera mounted on the bridge records everything. Seeing that, Will decides it's best to leave the area. From there, Will heads straight to Borel's house. Borel's wife, Greta, is playing with their newborn baby. Will asks Greta about Borel. After that, Will tells Borel everything that happened and shows him his clock. Seeing it, Borel tells Will that he shouldn't show it to anyone, or it could get him killed. Will agrees with what Borel says. He then tells Borel that he's more than a friend. He's like a brother, and gifts him a decade of time. Borel is stunned. After that, Borel asks Will where he's planning to go now. Will says that he now has enough time to give his mother a better life. That's why he's thinking about going to New Greenwich. After that, Will says goodbye to Borel. As soon as Will leaves, Borel looks at his clock, then glances at the bar across the street and tells Greta that he's heading out. That night, Will's mother pays her loan payment, which is 2 days, and goes to catch the bus. Just as she's about to pay the fare, the driver tells her that the fare has gone up starting today. Instead of 1 hour, the bus fare is now 2 hours. Hearing this, Will's mother is shocked and says that her son is waiting for her at the bus stop. He will pay the difference. But the bus driver says he can't allow that because it's against the policies. Will's mother shows him her clock and pleads with him, saying she has only an hour and a half left, while it's a 2-hour walk. But the bus driver shows no sympathy and tells her she should start running. Meanwhile, Will is waiting for his mother at the bus stop. Just then, the bus arrives, but his mother isn't on it. At the same time, Will's mother is running toward him as fast as she can. Along the way, she even tries to get a ride from someone, but no one helps her. She now has only 21 minutes left. Will also starts searching for his mother. Then Will's mother spots a man and asks him for help, but the man quickly goes inside after seeing her. She now has only 9 minutes left. With no other choice, Will's helpless mother keeps running as fast as she can. On the other side, Will is also rushing toward his mother. Finally, Will spots his mother. The moment she sees Will, she runs toward him with all the strength she has left because she now has only a few seconds remaining. Will also sprints toward her, but tragically, by the time he manages to grab her hand, she has already died. Will, who now has a century of time, breaks down in tears after seeing his mother die simply because she ran out of time. He feels completely helpless. In the next scene, the cops of this world, known as the Timekeepers, are introduced. They have all arrived to investigate Henry's death. The investigation is being led by Raymond Leon. Leon's junior, Jaeger, says that the victim had more than a century of time as recently as last night. Leon replies that in this time zone, people will kill someone for even a single week of time, so this isn't unusual. Jaeger says it's possible that Henry came here on his own. Leon responds, doesn't matter why he came here. What matters are the 100 years that came with him. As Leon starts to leave, he notices the security camera mounted nearby. Meanwhile, Will sets out for New Greenwich. New Greenwich is the richest time zone in this world, built exclusively for the wealthy. In this world, the rich and the poor are separated into different time zones. Along the way, Will has to pay tolls at several checkpoints. This system exists to make it difficult for poor people to enter the wealthy time zones. As soon as Will arrives in New Greenwich, he's amazed by the city's dazzling sights and towering buildings because he's never seen anything like it before. After getting out of the car, Will feels a little uncomfortable seeing wealthy people all around him. He then starts running somewhere, but suddenly realizes that he no longer has a shortage of time. There is no longer any reason for him to be in a hurry. Just then, a young woman notices Will's behavior. She watches him with curiosity. Will also notices that she's watching him. After that, Will begins acting like a wealthy man and checks into a hotel where he rents a suite. Meanwhile, the timekeepers are reviewing the bridge's security footage where they clearly see Will. Just then, an officer tells Leon that the camera doesn't show how Henry's body ended up beneath the bridge. Jaeger asks what they should do next. Leon replies that in this time zone, people usually steal weeks at most, but this time they're talking about an entire century. Leon also says that Henry's time has now left this time zone. In the next scene, Will is having breakfast at the hotel when a waitress approaches him. Will asks, "What's that place across the street?" The waitress tells him it's a casino. She also says that if he wants to go there, he should wear something nicer. Meanwhile, Jaeger tells Leon that they've just received information that, on the day of Henry's death, someone crossed multiple time zones and entered New Greenwich. The security footage from the time zone tolls soon reveals that the man who crossed those different time zones is Will Salas. That night, Will arrives at the casino and takes a seat at a poker table. There, he meets Philippe Weiss. He looks like just another rich young man, but the amount of time on his wrist is more than Will has ever seen in his entire life. An incredibly intense poker game begins between the two. In the middle of the game, the same young woman who had been watching Will ever since he arrived in New Greenwich also shows up. Will is surprised to see her there. She then sits down beside Weiss. As the game goes on, the tension rises so high that Will puts all of his time on the line. There are now a total of 1,100 years of time in the pot. Only a few seconds remain on Will's clock, and it seems certain that he's about to die. Everyone watching is terrified, but at the very last second, Will wins the hand and takes all 11 centuries of time in a single moment. Weiss congratulates Will on his victory. He then introduces Will to the young woman who is his daughter, Sylvia. Sylvia also congratulates Will on his win and invites him to a party at her house. The next day, Will buys an expensive car and drives straight to Sylvia's house to attend the party. When Will arrives, Weiss is welcoming his guests along with his entire family. Weiss introduces Will to his mother-in-law, his wife, and his daughter, Sylvia. After that, everyone is enjoying the party when Sylvia walks over to Will and asks him to dance. During the dance, Sylvia asks Will if he came from a poor time zone. Will asks her why she thinks that. Sylvia says that the way he was running the other day didn't make him seem like one of the wealthy people. She also says that sometimes she wishes she could live like the people in the poor time zones. Hearing this, Will tells her that she knows nothing about the lives of the poor. Sylvia then says that this clock isn't good for anyone. Poor people live their lives to the fullest and then die, while rich people can neither truly live nor truly die. Hearing Sylvia's words, Will falls into deep thought. A little while later, Weiss invites Will to play poker when Leon arrives with his team. Seeing Leon, Weiss asks why he's there. Leon apologizes for showing up like this and says that he just wants to ask Weiss's new friend a few questions. After that, Leon's men take Will into a room. Sylvia watches everything from a distance. As soon as they enter the room, the timekeepers first check the amount of time on Will's clock. After that, Leon introduces himself and Will calmly tells him his name as well. Leon asks Will what he's doing in this time zone. In a calm voice, Will replies that changing time zones isn't illegal. Leon then asks where all the time on Will's clock came from. Will says he won it through gambling. Leon asks, "All of it?" Will replies, "No, a man named Henry Hamilton gave me more than a century of time." Will explains that after giving him his time, Henry timed himself out. Leon says that a man like Henry, who was practically immortal, simply gave Will more than a century of time and then died. Will says he knows it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. He tells Leon that he's not a thief. Henry gave him that time as a gift. Leon says he doesn't care about any of that. All he knows is that that time is in the wrong hands. After that, Leon's men take all of Will's time, leaving him with only 2 hours so he can go back to where he came from. As Leon starts to leave, Will asks why he's investigating a suicide when mass murders happen in the ghetto every single day. Hearing that, Leon tells Will that maybe he doesn't remember, but his father used to say the exact same things. Hearing this, Will is left speechless. Sylvia has been listening to the entire conversation from a distance. Hearing everything, she becomes furious and starts to walk away. Just then, Will attacks the timekeepers standing beside him and runs out of the room. The timekeepers try to stop him, but Will shoves them aside and makes his way downstairs. After that, Will grabs Sylvia. He takes Sylvia hostage and forces everyone to let them go. Then Will puts Sylvia into his car and drives away. As soon as Will drives away, Leon and the rest of the timekeepers go after him. Will speeds away in his car. Leon chases him, but Will cleverly causes Leon's car to crash into a truck and escapes. After driving a little farther, Will hides his car beneath a bridge in the darkness. He then checks his clock and sees that he has only 1 hour left. Will asks Sylvia for some time. Angrily, Sylvia says, "So you really are from the ghetto?" Will replies, "Give me some time." Sylvia says, "Do you want me to die like Henry?" Will says, "Lend me an hour." Sylvia replies, "I'm not giving you even a second." After that, Sylvia tells Will to take her home. Will says he won't do that. But somehow, Will borrows some time from Sylvia and leaves. The next day, Will is heading toward the ghetto when he notices a security camera nearby. It distracts him, and he fails to see the spike strip lying across the road. By the time he notices it, his car has already run over it. The spike strip blows out the tires. Will loses control of the car, and it flips over before crashing down below. Because of the crash, both Will and Sylvia are knocked unconscious. Just then, the Minutemen gang arrives. Fortis takes advantage of the fact that Will and Sylvia are unconscious and steals all the time from both of their clocks. He leaves them with only half an hour. After that, the Minutemen gang leaves. As soon as Sylvia regains consciousness, she looks at her clock. Seeing that she has only half an hour left, she begins to panic. By then, Will has also regained consciousness. After hearing Sylvia, he realizes what happened and says that this is the Minutemen gang's doing. Sylvia asks, "What are we going to do now?" Will replies, "Whatever we have to do." After that, Will and Sylvia leave. While searching for Will and Sylvia, the timekeepers arrive at the scene of their accident. Looking at the condition of the car, Leon says that Will and Sylvia couldn't have gotten very far. Jaeger says, "But now Will is back in his own neighborhood, so finding him will be a little harder." In the next scene, Will runs straight to Borel's house with Sylvia and calls out for him. Borel's wife, Greta, comes outside. Will asks about Borel, and Greta tells him that he's dead. Shocked, Will asks, "How did that happen?" Greta says that Will is the reason Borel died because he gave Borel a decade of time and Borel drank himself to death. Will apologizes to Greta, but she refuses to listen and shuts the door. By now, Will has only a few minutes left on his clock. Just then, he notices the diamonds Sylvia is wearing in her ears. After that, Will and Sylvia run to a pawn shop where Will sells Sylvia's diamonds in exchange for some time. Later, Will is leading Sylvia through the streets of Dayton at gunpoint. Just then, Will notices a sign that reads, "Weiss Time Lenders." He realizes that Weiss is the businessman who gives people time loans at extremely high interest. After that, Will and Sylvia go to a phone booth and Will calls Weiss. As soon as Weiss answers, Will asks to speak with Leon. Will tells Leon that, in exchange for Sylvia, 1,000 years of time must be distributed among the people of Dayton through the timelines. Once that is done, Sylvia can go home. Leon's men trace Will's call and discover that it came from a public phone booth in Dayton. Leon tells Weiss that Will is demanding that 1,000 years be distributed among the people of Dayton. Weiss's wife tells him that he can at least do that much for his daughter, but Weiss doesn't pay much attention to what she says. That night, Will takes Sylvia to his house, where he gives her his mother's clothes to wear. A little while later, Sylvia asks Will about his family. Will tells her that his mother has passed away. Sylvia then asks about his father. Will says that his father was a time fighter. Will says he was not the strongest, but he knew how to win. Sylvia asks Will how a time fight is won. Will tells her to let the other person gain the upper hand first and keep giving away your time. Let them believe they're the one who's winning. Then a moment will come when your clock has only a few seconds left, and your opponent's eyes will be fixed on your dwindling time, convinced they're about to win. And at that exact moment, you take control. Hearing this, Sylvia is deeply impressed by Will's approach. She then asks if Will's father was killed in a fight like that. Will tells her that he was murdered because he was distributing the time he had won to people in need. The next morning, Will watches through the window to see whether Weiss will fulfill his demand to distribute 1,000 years of time to the people. Sylvia is watching with him. Just then, the out-of-time sign lights up at the time lender's bank. Seeing that, Will and Sylvia realize that Weiss has rejected Will's demand. Sylvia feels terrible because her father refused to accept Will's demand in exchange for her freedom. Sylvia asks Will, "What are we going to do now?" Will replies, "You should go back home now." After that, Will takes Sylvia to a phone booth so she can call home and have someone come pick her up. Sylvia stops Will and says, "Will, you shouldn't give up." She says she'll tell her father that coming to the ghetto was her idea, and that her father will make a deal with the timekeepers so nothing happens to Will. Will replies, "That won't happen. The timekeepers aren't going to make any deal for me." Sylvia asks, "What are you going to do now?" For Sylvia's safety, Will hands her a gun and says, "Go make the call. I'll keep watch from across the street." After that, Will sits down by the side of the road and keeps an eye on the area. Sylvia calls her father. As soon as Weiss answers, Sylvia angrily asks, "Can't you spare even a second for your own daughter?" Just then, Leon arrives. He gets out of his car, draws his gun, and starts walking toward Will. Over the phone, Weiss tells Sylvia, "I can do anything for my daughter. That's why I sent people to rescue you. They'll be there any moment now." Just then, Sylvia notices Leon. She panics, shouts Will's name, and fires at Leon. The bullet hits Leon in the shoulder, and he falls to the ground wounded. Will runs over to Leon, kicks his gun away, and then looks at the amount of time left on Leon's clock. There is very little time remaining. Leon says, "Sorry to disappoint you, but we do not keep much time on us." Hearing that, Will smiles, transfers some of his own time to Leon, and says, "Consider it a gift." After that, Will and Sylvia get into Leon's car and drive away. On the way, Sylvia tells Will that she fired the gun by accident. She then asks, "Why did you give Leon your time?" Will replies, "The timekeepers live day to day, and it'll take everyone else hours to get here. Leon didn't have much time left. He could have wandered around the ghetto and died, so I gave him some time." Meanwhile, Leon is walking out of the ghetto. Everyone around him is mocking him and hurling insults at him. Just then, Jaeger arrives after searching for Leon. Meanwhile, Will tells Sylvia that after she shot Leon, everyone will now believe that she and Will are working together. Sylvia replies, "This is a mess." A little while later, Sylvia tells Will that she has only a few hours left and is riding around in a timekeeper's car. She then asks, "What are we going to do now?" Will replies, "We've got to do something." After that, Will stops a car coming toward them. He forces the wealthy lady inside to get out. Will then takes all of her time. He also asks for the diamonds she's wearing in her ears and gives them to Sylvia as a gift. After that, Will leaves the lady on the road and drives away in her car. In the next scene, Weiss receives calls from many powerful leaders and influential people from around the world. They all want to know what happened to the 1,000-year ransom. Weiss tells them that he didn't pay anyone any ransom and that everything is under his control. They tell Weiss that if Will isn't stopped soon, the entire time zone of New Greenwich will be in danger. Just then, Leon arrives and tells Weiss that his daughter Sylvia was the one who shot him. Because of that, he's now issuing a warrant for Sylvia as well. To keep Sylvia out of the case, Weiss tries to bribe Leon. But Leon firmly tells Weiss that if he tries to help Sylvia in any way, he'll issue a warrant for Weiss too. Meanwhile, Will and Sylvia have grown much closer. Will is teaching Sylvia how to use a gun. Sylvia asks Will if, after getting a huge amount of time, he would really give it away to people. Will says he can't keep living while watching others die. Hearing that, Sylvia says she can help Will take all that time. After that, Will and Sylvia crash a truck through the glass entrance of the Weiss Timelender's bank. As soon as they get inside, they fill a bag with as much time as they need. But before leaving, Sylvia makes an announcement that today Weiss Timelenders is giving everyone interest-free time loans, and there's no need to pay them back. Will then says, "Take as much time as you need." The moment people hear that, everyone rushes in to take time. Just as they're transferring the stolen time to their own clocks, the timekeepers arrive. Seeing this, Leon tells everyone there, "Get out of here, or I'll confiscate every last second you have." Seeing the situation, Jaeger says that things are about to get out of control. That evening, Greta is hanging up clothes to dry. Just then, she notices 10 years of time sitting in the laundry basket. Will had secretly left it there for her. That same night, Will secretly transfers time to people in need as well. In the next scene, we see Leon talking to his superior, assuring him that he'll arrest Will and Sylvia soon. Meanwhile, news of the bank robbery is being broadcast on every news channel, and Weiss is watching it. Weiss says that he gave Sylvia everything that many people could only dream of having, yet she's still doing this to him. But Weiss's wife tells him that he's been suffocating Sylvia her entire life. Not only that, he's been suffocating all of them. That night, Will and Sylvia are together when Will suddenly hears something. He looks out the window and sees the timekeepers, who have come to arrest them. The moment they realize this, Will and Sylvia leave immediately, but the timekeepers spot them as they flee. To escape, Will jumps out the window with Sylvia. After that, the two run to get away, while Leon chases them. While running, Will and Sylvia get on a bus, but the bus driver recognizes them. Will offers him some extra time. The driver accepts it and drives them away. By the time Leon reaches them, the bus is already gone. A 10-year bounty is now placed on Will and Sylvia. The next day, the two arrive at a hotel and book the entire hotel for their own safety so they can stay there securely. But as Will and Sylvia are heading toward their room, one of the Minutemen gang members spots them. He also tries to book a room at the hotel, but the front receptionist tells him that there are no rooms available. That night, Will sees the 10-year bounty on himself and Sylvia displayed on a billboard. When he tells Sylvia about it, she laughs and says, "Only 10 years?" The two begin getting closer, and Sylvia kisses Will. Just then, the Minutemen gang bursts into Will's room by breaking down the door. As soon as they enter, one of the gang members holds Will at gunpoint, while Fortis walks over and sits beside Sylvia. After that, they force both of them over to a table and make them sit down. Fortis tells Will that he always gives a dying man a fair chance so people won't think he's cruel. He then challenges Will to a time battle. Will has no choice but to accept, so he agrees to the time battle. As soon as it begins, Fortis has the upper hand and starts rapidly taking Will's time. Will lets him do it, so Fortis believes he's about to win, but Will is only waiting for the right moment. The instant Fortis takes his eyes off the battle and looks at Will's clock, Will quickly twists Fortis's hand and gains the upper hand. Now, all of Fortis's time starts transferring to Will. Seeing this, Fortis and his men are stunned. Seizing the opportunity, Will grabs the gun from the man standing beside him and shoots them all. The moment Fortis runs out of time, he dies. In this way, Will finally wins the time battle. After that, Will goes up to the hotel's rooftop with Sylvia to see if anyone is following them. Just then, Will notices that grocery prices have gone up again. Seeing this, he becomes disheartened and says to Sylvia, "It's over." Sylvia says they've at least been trying. Will replies that it won't make any difference. They'll just raise the prices of everything people need and take back all the time that was distributed. Sylvia says, then we should give up. In the next scene, Weiss arrives at his office building with several of his guards. Just then, Sylvia shows up. All of Weiss's guards immediately point their guns at her. Sylvia says that she's there to surrender. Before Weiss can say anything to her, Will quietly comes up from behind, points a gun at Weiss's head, and takes him hostage. After that, Will and Sylvia take Weiss into his office. Inside, there's a locker. Will asks Weiss for the combination, but Weiss refuses to answer. Sylvia then says she knows the combination and tells Will the correct one. The moment Will opens the locker, he's left speechless because it contains 1 million years of time. Will takes it and starts to leave. Weiss tells them that they're making a huge mistake. If they distribute 1 million years of time among the poor time zones, the entire system will collapse. Sylvia replies, "We weren't meant to live like this. We weren't meant to live forever either." But Weiss says, "Don't fool yourselves. In the end, nothing will change because everyone wants to live forever." After that, Will and Sylvia leave. Meanwhile, an alarm starts going off at the timekeeper's office. Leon rushes to his office, where he learns that 1 million years of time have been taken out of New Greenwich. Jaeger and another officer tell Leon that it might be some kind of server error. But as Leon rushes out, he says, "It's not an error, it's them." After that, Leon sets out in search of Will and Sylvia. He calls the control room and issues a shoot-at-sight order for both of them. Meanwhile, Will and Sylvia are driving while planning their next move. Just then, Leon checks his clock and sees that he has only 44 minutes left. He contacts the control room and asks them to transfer his daily per diem. But before he can receive the time on his clock, he spots Will's car. Leon quickly turns his car around and starts chasing Will. He calls the control room and orders them to block the road. As soon as the order is received, the timekeepers block the road and take aim at Will. Will sees that the timekeepers have blocked the road and that Leon's car is closing in behind him. But instead of stopping, Will accelerates even more. The timekeepers open fire, but Will smashes through everything in his path and escapes. Leon refuses to give up the chase. Will speeds all the way to Dayton, but then Leon rams his car into Will's car. Will gets out of the car and gives the little girl 1,000,000 years of time, telling her to distribute it among everyone. Leon also gets out of his car and points his gun at Will. Just then, the time available sign lights up, and people immediately rush in a frenzy to collect time. Taking advantage of the chaos, Will escapes with Sylvia. Leon tries to catch them, but because of the crowd, he loses sight of them. After that, Leon gets back into his car and resumes searching for the two. Meanwhile, the 1,000,000 years of time that Will gave away begins to be distributed selflessly among the people. Will and Sylvia are still running when Leon suddenly spots them. He stops his car and runs after them. Eventually, he catches up, stands in front of them, and points his gun at them. Will and Sylvia are now completely trapped. They have nowhere left to run. Just then, Will says to Leon that since he's about to arrest him anyway, he should first return the time Leon borrowed from him because Will doesn't have much time left. At that moment, Leon remembers that although he requested his daily per diem from the control room, he never transferred it to his clock. When Leon checks his clock, only 5 seconds remain, and they keep counting down. The moment Leon's time runs out, he dies. Seeing this, Will and Sylvia are stunned. But they don't have much time left either. Both of them accept that they're about to die, so they say their final goodbyes to each other. Just then, Will notices Leon's car. He runs to it, where he finds Leon's time. After that, Will rushes back to Sylvia and saves her as well. In the next scene, the news is showing what's happening in Dayton, where people have now taken to the streets. Dayton's factories have come to a complete standstill. People are now fearlessly crossing into different time zones. The timekeepers are watching all of this on the news as well. Just then, one of the timekeepers asks their new officer in charge, Jaeger, what they should do now. Jaeger replies, "Just go home." In the movie's final scene, we see Will and Sylvia on their way to rob another time bank.